I've explored abandoned places ever since I was a kid. Old barns, half-collapsed houses, ruined factories, anything with peeling wallpaper and a chance of tetanus. It wasn't about danger. It was the feeling of stepping into a place that the world had forgotten. There's a house about 20 minutes outside my town that I'd driven past 100 times. Just a sagging old farmhouse with boarded windows and a porch that bowed like it was sighing under its own weight. Nothing special. But last winter, curiosity got the better of me. I went alone. The air that night was freezing, the kind of cold that makes sound carry too clearly. Every leaf crunch felt like a bone snapping. My breath fogged out in front of me as I stepped onto the porch. It creaked like it hadn't been touched in decades. For fun, just being an idiot, I knocked on the front door, 4 taps, a slow rhythm. Knock, 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 knock. I waited. To my delight and brief amusement, something inside knocked back. Knock, 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 perfectly matching my pattern. At first I laughed. "Okay," I said. Some raccoon learned percussion. I knocked again with a different pattern. Another reply. Same pattern, same timing. The house was empty. I knew it was empty. I had a flashlight, and through the gaps in the boards, I could see nothing but dust. But something was knocking back. I pressed my ear to the wood. Anyone in there? A moment of silence. Then, a slow dragging sound, like a fingertip trailing across the backside of the door. Then scratching. Then the fingertip started writing, carving letters from the inside. I stepped back as flakes of old paint drifted down. Letter by letter, it spelled MYNAMEISYOURS. I swallowed. My voice cracked. "Very funny," I called. "Who is this?" On the other side, the doorknob slowly turned. Not rattled, not jiggled. Turned. Deliberately. I bolted off the porch and didn't look back until I reached my car. For the next week, I tried to convince myself it had been a prank. Someone inside. Someone messing with me. But who sits inside an abandoned house on a freezing night waiting for someone to knock? On the 8th night, I woke at 3:13 a.m. to the sound of tapping. 4 knocks from inside my own house. I sat up in bed, heart slamming against my ribs. The knocks came again. Knock, 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 knock. My rhythm. The rhythm I'd used on that farmhouse door. I crept into the hallway. The knocks were coming from the front door. I stared at it from halfway down the stairs. My legs felt rubbery. Something on the other side was mimicking the same pattern I'd tapped on that rotting house. I whispered, "Who's there?" The tapping stopped. Then that same dragging fingertip began moving along the inside of my front door, just like before, scratching, etching, writing. I forced myself closer, every instinct screaming to run the other way. The message carved into my door was shorter this time. LETM. I staggered back. The doorknob began to turn, slowly, softly, like someone was testing it. The chain lock rattled, then stopped. Silence. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning I went to the police. They asked if I had enemies, or if I'd been drinking or taking anything. I showed them the carved letters. They told me it looked old, like it had been there for months. It hadn't. I watched it being carved. I tried to stay calm that day, but everything felt wrong. Noises in the walls, footsteps in empty rooms, a sense that the house was breathing with me. That night, I pushed a bookcase against the front door, then shoved a dresser in front of that. I locked every window. I turned on every light. I stayed awake on the couch watching the door. At 3:13 a.m., all the lights went out. Not a flicker, not a surge, just blackness. Then the knock started. Knock, 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 knock. My rhythm. I held my breath. Something began walking around the outside of the house. Slow, deliberate steps. The pacing would stop behind a window, and I'd hear the faintest dragging of fingernails. Room to room it went, circling, learning the layout, learning me. After a full hour of that, everything went silent. Then the dragging fingertips started again, this time on the living room wall directly behind me, scratching letters into the drywall. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. When the sound finally stopped, I flicked my lighter to see the message written above my head. It read, YOULEFTTHEBACKDOOROPEN. My blood went ice cold. Slowly, I turned toward the kitchen. The back door, one I hadn't touched that night, was wide open. The curtains were fluttering from a wind that wasn't blowing. Something stood in the doorway. Not a person, not an animal, a shape. Tall, featureless, like a silhouette that had been waiting its entire existence for me to open that door first. It stepped inside, silent as a shadow falling. I dropped the lighter. In the brief spark before it hit the floor, I saw the thing tilt its head at me. A voice, soft as breath, whispered from the dark, "My name is yours." And then it knocked. Once, twice, 3 times, as if asking permission, as if I ever had a choice.